had some requests about a little tutorial about cleaning and oiling your machine, which is really important. You should be cleaning and oiling your machine at least once a day, especially if you're using it a lot right now. The only things that you'll need are a little brush like this. If you don't have one that came with your sewing machine, you can steal one out of your kid's paint box, because those, just make sure it's like the little plastic bristles, those work really, really well. And a thing of sewing machine oil, and it's really, really simple, and it only takes a couple minutes, and it will keep your machine running really, really nice and keep your machine living for many years to come. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is remove your bobbin casing and set those aside. The second thing is, if you have a machine like I do, then there's going to be a pin that holds everything in together. So you're going to want to release that pin, and on my machine it's to the left hand side, and then I can pull this arm down and this comes out, this handy little piece that every one of you will have on your machine, whether it's in the same exact spot or in this, or horizontal or vertical, it's in your machine. And this is what we're going to oil later. Then you want to remove, if you can remove your presser foot and your needle to give you more room to work in there. But you're going to want to remove your stitch plate. And for me, I just have to push down on one side of it and it pops up. And that lets you really get in there to clean it. And you take your brush and just start pulling it out. Usually the fuzz will stick to the brush. Can you see that? I don't know. And then I just pull it off. And make sure when you're brushing your machine out that you brush up and out. And hopefully you have a good sturdy machine that has all metal parts under here, so you really don't have to be careful. You can just really get in there and get all that stuff out. My machine is actually not that dirty right this second. Sometimes it can get pretty bad. And once you feel like you've gotten all that out of there, then you can tilt your machine back and look into here and just kind of give it a good scoop out. If you have never cleaned your machine, every stroke of your brush is going to look like mine right here. And this is why I said in my post that a wise old lady once told me, you ain't making felt, because if you get a buildup like that, that can create a huge piece of felt essentially all underneath your stitch plate. So you got to make sure that you take off your stitch plate and clean underneath it. So now that I've brushed all that out, I'm just going to take this and I'm going to put 1 or 2 drops of oil onto the flat edge of it. And then I'm just going to run my finger along, and now that's completely oiled. And then replace it. And push my arm back up. Make sure it's clicked in. Push my faceplate back on. Replace my presser foot and my needle. And my bobbin. Once I get it threaded, I'll be ready to sew. Once you have your machine all put back together, give it a test sew on a fabric that you don't care about. Every so often, the thread will get a little bit oily, so you want to get through that. But once you are ready to go, you should notice a significant, if you haven't cleaned your machine in a while, you should notice a significant change in the smoothness of how the machine's running and how quiet your machine will be. There you go. Hopefully that was helpful. Once again, it's really important to keep your machine cleaned and oiled. If my tutorial wasn't amazing, because, you know, I'm not great at this stuff. You can search YouTube to find a better one, but I highly recommend you just start making that part of your daily routine and take care of your machine. If you do not have sewing machine oil and do not want to go out to get some, you may be able to find a machine oil of some sort in your garage, or bike oil. All of us around here have that, right? So any other questions, feel free to leave comments or message me. Thanks.